A Dragonlance media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Dragonlance Media bringing you another book review today. Oh yeah. This time I'm looking at a collection of short stories from the Dragonlance IP, The Dragons of Krynn, edited by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman, who were the authors of the original Dragonlance Chronicles. Here you can see Tanis, Lorana, and Sturm. And on the back of this one, you have the brilliant covers from Dragons of Autumn Twilight, Dragons of Winter Night, and Dragons of Spring Dawning. Okay, so this is a collection of short stories set through all the kind of time periods of Krynn, going all the way back to the First Dragon War and then up to the Fifth Age. For those of you that don't want to know my review but just want to know what I thought of the book before moving on to another video, it was pretty good. I have to admit, I do like short story compilations. However, some of these short stories dragged on a little bit too long, in my personal opinion. Now, if you are going to get this, you do get 15 stories and a song, which is a pretty good fucking amount, in my personal opinion, but there you have it. So, I'm not going to spoil any of the stories. I might spoil one or two. I'm just going to give a brief description of them and then, move on, because when it comes to short stories, you really should experience them for yourself. So without any more preamble, here is the next episode of... Okay, so let's go through these. I will be looking down because I did have to make some notes just briefly on what each story was. So the first story is, the song, Seven Hymns of the Dragon. This is a song or a poem, however you want to call it, written by Michael Williams. It's pretty good, but I have to admit that when they have songs and stuff in fantasy novels like Lord of the Rings and Dragonlance Chronicles and things like that, they do piss me off a little bit, especially when they go over 3 pages. But that's just me. You might enjoy them. The Final Touch by Michael and Tori Williams is basically about a druid who has rescued a baby dragon and is trying to raise that dragon and teach it how to do dragon things. It was silly, but a little fun at the same time. Night of Falling Stars. This is pretty much just dragon hunting. Make of it what you will. It was a good story. That was by Nancy Varon Burbrick. On It Is All by Mickey Zucker Robert. I'm just going to bring my notes up here. This is about a knight who goes after a dragon, not realizing that silver dragons are good. And those of you that are familiar with Dungeons and Dragons will know that chromatic dragons, red, green, blue, black, and white, are evil. And the chromatic dragons, which are gold, silver, bronze, copper, and brass, are ostensibly the good dragons. So that was Honor Is All. Easy Pickings by Douglas Niles. Douglas Niles, a fantastic fantasy author who wrote a lot of books for the Forgotten Realms, the Moonshade trilogies, and he also wrote Dragonlance novels. He wrote Easy Pickings, which is about 2 ogres that have heard that there is a dragon's lair that is empty, so they think that they can go in and get the treasure from there because there's nothing to guard it. They don't realize that the dragon has young children. So make of that what you will. A Dragon to the Core by Roger E. Moore. Roger E. Moore wrote some fantastic Dragonlance novels. This was one of the stories that actually, it annoyed me in the beginning because we're following this character who's a gnomish inventor. And this character had invented a dragon mining machine. And 3 people come to this gnome and say, we need your machine to excavate a mine. And the gnome agrees, while at the same time the gnome's being hunted by this guy who's like, don't help these people. And for the longest time, you don't know what the fuck is going on. The gnome has an encounter with Dalamar the Dark. Those of you that are familiar with Dragonlance know that Dalamar was Raistlin Magir's apprentice. He is a black-robed mage who is currently, in the lore at least, the head of the Tower of High Sorcery in Palantis. It turns out that these 3 people are actually Sivak Draconians, which it was at that point where the story started to get really good. Sivak Draconians are Draconians made from the eggs of silver dragons, so they have the ability to shapeshift. What is a Draconian? People are probably fucking asking right now. A Draconian is a dragon man. The Queen of Darkness, Tarkisis, discovered a way to take the eggs of the metallic dragons and warp the dragon children into dragon men that would fight for evil instead of good. It's a whole thing. Go look it up. It's fucking awesome. Dragon Breath. Dragon Breath was really funny to me because it basically is the invention of whiskey. This innkeeper invents whiskey, and while he's testing whiskey out on all of his friends, the inn burns down. People think it's a dragon, so they tell the innkeeper and his friends to go and kill the dragon, but it's not, and it's a misunderstanding, and it was quite an amusing story, and I liked it. That was by Nick O'Donoghue? I don't know. Fool's Gold by Jeff Grubb. Jeff Grubb, again, a fantastic early Dungeons & Dragons fantasy author and content creator. Just read Azure Bonds, play the video game, or go and get the old 1st edition or 2nd edition module. I think it's 1st edition. Whatever. Curse of the Azure Bonds. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Fool's Gold is about a mercenary who goes to attack a dragon, doesn't realize that the dragon's good. He just sees dragons as being evil. And the dragon curses him with always telling the truth. He comes to this town, tells his story. He is accompanied by a dog that he calls Fool's Gold, and is hired by the mayor, the leader of this community, to get rid of a gnomish inventor. Really good story, very well written, but then Jeff Grubb is fantasy gold all the way. Scourge of the Wicked Kendragon by Janet Pack. This basically, a Kender gets an item from a red-robed wizard, and it turns the Kender into a dragon. The Kender then falls afoul of a Solamnic knight who demands honor, but then the wizard comes to find the Kender to get the thing back so the Kender can stop being a dragon, blah, blah, blah. Fun story, not the best in the collection. And Baby Makes 3. This was kind of cool. This was a mercenary who is the companion of a dragon. And they stumble across this young boy who is the sole survivor of a massacre in his village. And through the help of the dragon who threatens this boy, the mercenary finds out that the boy is his long-lost son. So that was kind of a fun, cool story. And I like the dynamic between the dragon and the mercenary character. That was kind of cool. The First Dragon Army Bridging Company by Don Perrin. This was awesome. We get to see a little bit of backstory of this kind of draconian company that their whole purpose is to make bridges to cross rivers for the evil dragon army. The reason I say it's awesome is because they were introduced in the novel The Doom Brigade by Don Perrin, in which it's after the War of the Lance, and these draconians are trying to kind of carve out their place in the world, which is a great novel. And this story gave us a little bit of backstory. Not only that, but we're given a little more insight into Lord Ariacus, who is the head of the dragon armies. And this is around the same time that Lorana has become the Golden General, which happens, I believe, in either at the end of Dragons of Winter Night or at the beginning of Dragons of Spring Dawning. It's been a while since I read those books. Really cool story, fantastic ending as well. One of the most heartfelt endings to a story that focuses on who are the villains that I've read in a long time. The Middle of Nowhere. This was really fucking cool. You have a village that is basically broken itself off from the rest of Krynn. And the village is all scholars, and it's very small. And the mayor of the village has been tasked by the population. There's a dragon that is terrorizing them, and he wants it gone. He makes a deal with a wizard, and they ultimately end up killing the dragon. The wizard demands 60% of all of the wealth of the village every year. And so after like 20 years, because the mayor is like, he's going to fucking die soon, it's cool. But after 20 years, this guy's still alive. And the villagers are starting to get really pissed off. And a bard comes to the village, and the mayor recruits the bard to help out with the problem. I really want to spoil this one because the ending had me fucking gobsmacked, but I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and say, does everything work out in the end? Yes, it does. How it works out? Fucking read the story. It is awesome. Okay, next up, Kaz and the Dragon's Children. We are reunited with Kaz the Minotaur, who was first introduced in the Legend of Humor, and subsequently he's the second novel in that Legend series, Kaz the Minotaur. Those of you that don't know who Kaz is a Minotaur who fought beside Humor Dragonbane in the First Dragon War, along with Humor's childhood friend Magius, who Racefull Magier's staff, which he is gifted after becoming a mage in the test in the Tower of High Sorcery. He's given the staff of Magius, belonged to this wizard. The character itself is fantastic because Minotaurs and Solamnic Knights usually don't get along, and Solamnic Knights and wizards usually don't get along. So you've got that whole dynamic there. This follows Kaz after the events of the books, where he just wants to be left alone, but he comes across this creature in a forest and then is tasked by a black-robed wizard to help him. And it turns out that this story is about how Draconians were first created. Fantastic. Didn't see it coming. Great story. Into the Light. Kaz the Minotaur. Kaz and the Dragon's Children was written by Richard A. Knack, who wrote Legend of Humor and Kaz the Minotaur. Into the Light by Linda P. Baker has some great characters. Now, again, this isn't dealing with dragons so much as draconians, but the whole point of this is a Silvernesty elf who died in a river but was brought back by the goddess Meshakal, who is one of the old gods of healing, was tasked with bringing the message of Meshakal to the Silvernesty elves. In Silvernesty culture, the gods never spoke to commoners. They only ever spoke to the highborn, like Lorak, the elven king. And so they exile her. And when an elf gets exiled, she becomes a dark elf. Like Dalamar, Raceland's apprentice is considered a dark elf in Dragonlance lore. So she meets this like desert tribe. She becomes part of this desert tribe. The tribe is wiped out by a dragon. And so her, a young boy, and a warrior, the warrior is going to lead them to safety. And they end up getting ambushed by draconians and so on and so forth. And this warrior discovers that, yes, she's telling the truth. Healing is real, and Mashakal and the old gods are back. Really, really good story. The Best by Margaret Weis. Editor of the book, co-author of the Chronicles and the Legends, and other Dragonlance books, of course. The Best is about a guy who gets together 4 of the best dragon hunters to go and hunt down a dragon. There's a thief, there's a knight, there's a wizard. You know, it's all the typical party tropes that you would find in a Dragonlance, or in a D&D, I should say, story. So they go and they hunt down this dragon. There is a twist ending. Not going to spoil it. Great story. Very well written. The final story is The Hunt by Kevin Stein. Now, The Hunt introduces a character called Galen. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be the same character from Weasel's Luck and Galen Benighted. I hope it is. If it is, that elevates the story up to here. But it's about a knight who has spent his entire life hunting down a black dragon. And when he finally finds this black dragon, the dragon is basically dying and begs this knight to kill it. And the knight has this kind of moral quandary until he realizes exactly what is going on. It was a fantastic way to end this collection of short stories, and I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. That was The Dragons of Krynn. There are some hits and misses, but you're going to find that with every short story collection. I just love Dragonlance. I love all the books. Just go out and try and read them any way that you can. You will not be disappointed. But if you are going to chase down some Dragonlance, go with Chronicles first. This is the granddaddy that started it all. And this is among some of the most generic but fantastically awesome fantasy fiction you can find, and I cannot recommend it enough. Okay, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification bell, follow Hugh Newton, Ian Van Gammon, and of course Luke Carman on Amazon. You're going to find some fantastic shit, but most importantly, stay safe, have a fantastic rest of your day, have a drink, read a fucking book, people.